parliamentary democracy came into existence. Although the objective behind India being democratic and republic was crystal clear in the eyes of the public and the government, over these years, our democracy has been abducted, hijacked, bruised, and even murdered. Greetings of the day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mansi, Parab, and today I'll be expressing my views on the topic, rather the protagonist topic of the day, that is the whale of democracy. Under this whale of democracy, 1.8% of India's GDP is spent on Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana. Still 5 lakh people die of tuberculosis every year. Right to education being the topmost priority to build a concrete foundation for India's bright future is also at stake, as 32 million children have never been to any school. Thousands of multi-story buildings are erected, still the people are made to sleep on the pavement, on every street and every corner. Hotels are open, still 47% of the population goes to bed empty stomach. These are the basic amenities every citizen can least expect from the government, but are kept deprived of it. Well, talking about democracy, as most of my fellow participants pointed, that there are 4 major pillars of Indian democracy, namely the legislature, executives, judiciary, and the media. Let me give you a broader perspective to these. To begin with, the role of legislature is to form laws and policies that will govern the state, but in reality, we might be free from the British rule long back ago. We are still slaves to these laws and bills passed by the parliamentary house, favoring one part of the society and being unfair with the other. For example, the 3 farm bills passed in September 2020 terrorized the farmers, as the farmers would have lived their lives at the mercy of bigger corporations, snatching away 85% of the net gross right from the Green Revolution under the pretext of providing a platform for the farmers' growth. The protesters were detained and arrested. Section 144 and internet shutdown was imposed on the state. The police opened fire at the protesters. 25 people lost their life. Although a petition was filed in the Supreme Court and the Delhi High Court, still no questions were raised by the judiciary. Can anyone at this age imagine the police and the state authorities getting away with such an excessively obnoxious act? Isn't it a mass suspension of our fundamental rights? The next pillar are the executives, who are responsible to enforce these laws and to maintain order in the state, but also requires a reality check. India's strategic analyst Bharat Kannad's book, India's Rise, Why It's Not a Great Power Yet, brought number of deficits in India under the spotlight that are hampering the execution of law. This includes the overly bureaucratic system, the inaptitude of local government and policies, infirmities, social and political fragmentation, electoral autocracy, and unbelievable corruption. The next pillar is the judiciary that interprets these laws, settles disputes, and administers justice to every citizen. Still 25 million cases are pending all across the country. This ineffectiveness has been into existence right from the beginning of the 20th century. In the Nirbhaya rape case, where the entire nation knew that those 6 people were the culprit, still the judiciary took 8 long years to prove their crime. Justice delayed is justice denied. This should become the basic premise of the Indian judiciary. The last pillar, ladies and gentlemen, is the watchdog of public interest, the media. Social media being one of the most easily accessible medium to express one's views and opinions has also led to a crackdown on civil liberties, thereby leading a decline in India's ranking by fomenting religious strife, anti-Muslim feelings, and damaging the political fabric of our nation. Even if one of these pillars shakes, the entire democracy will collapse. Let's just not talk about electoral mockery and hypocrisy of the politicians. Instead, let's focus on our own actions. As most of you frequently mentioned the example of hijab case in Karnataka, I realize that we citizens are equally responsible to make religious discrimination, to promote hate speeches and casteism under freedom of expression, and to take our fundamental rights and duties for granted by sabotaging the virtue of our constitution. This blame game must stop. It is important to study the greed law and to agonize the pace of strengthening our democracy by getting connected to our core existence, not as Hindu, Muslim, SC, ST, OBC, rich or poor, but as the civilized citizens of democratic India. Here, I would like to quote Nelson Mandela. An educated, enlightened, and well-informed citizen is the surest way to maintain the health of the democracy. On a concluding note, I would like to leave us all with few sets of questions we need to reflect on. How many of us have never broken a traffic rule or any other rule or bribed an officer? How many of us have never manipulated the numbers on the balance sheet to skip paying taxes? How many of us had the audacity to stand for women, health, hygiene, safety and education, especially in the underdeveloped and rural areas? How many of us made sure that at least one person on the pavement should be well fed, or at least one deprived child should avail the right to education? That's it from my side. Give it a thought. Thank you and have a great day.